Hey everybody, welcome back to Bobby Builds It. Today, we're not doing anything with a cedar picket. We're not doing anything with a 2x4. We've got this handsome piece of walnut here that I got out of the scrap bin at Rockler. I think I paid about $8 for it. We're going to see if we can turn it into some big profit. Stick around. We milled up and we got two pieces. They're both 7 inches by about 3 1/4 by about 13/16. Now, I practiced doing this because I only had one piece of this walnut. And my idea was to make 2 slats, this 1/4 inch thickness, and 2 more 1/2 inch thick. I practiced with a 2x4. And as you can see, a 2x4 is significantly taller than this is. Anyway, I cut the slats this way. So I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board and figure out what I'm going to do. They need to be, I need pieces that are at least wide enough for this here tube. I'm going to try to get 3 inch thick pieces out of it and see what I can do with this remainder. After further consideration, I decided to cut these slats at 1 1/8 inches. Let's see if it works. We're gonna test it on a piece of 2x4 first. So it looks like that will do, but it's gonna be a little bit tight. So I want to give myself another 1/4 inch or another 1/8 of an inch. Well, I pondered on it for a second and decided, well, let me just drill the hole that I'm going to need and see if this width would work. And it will. I'm just going to have to be real careful and make sure I'm centered on the real piece. Now I'm just stopping to see how this next cut's going to go with my push block and everything. Plenty of room. And one more time, just look at making sure everything is going to clear like I want it to. We are good. This is where a bandsaw would come in real handy. So I need all of my width there, this way. I don't need all of that width. The issue comes in where say I wanted to cut this, eyeball it in half. Boom, 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 stuff falling everywhere. The gripper won't do it. This push block won't do it. I could get a piece of 2x4 or something. And sort of push through like that. I've seen people do it, you know, the big sacrificial push block. I don't really want to do that. But you may remember my video of the world's easiest tapering jig. And I think that will come in to help us here too. And if you didn't see that video, check this card that's up there, if I knew how to put it in right. And here is said tapering jig. So what I'll need to do is set up the table saw. Just, I'm gonna set it just like to cut off just the tiniest bit to make sure when I pass through the next time, I know exactly where I'm cutting. Let's see if I can do a little bit less than that. Yeah, let's run it through there. Well, I got a little gun shy about getting this lined up right at 1/4 of an inch hanging off of this board. Found a smaller piece, lined it up flush, and you're going to use the thin rip jig to get us to that 1/4 of an inch. See how we do. After all that, we've got 2 pieces at 1/4 of an inch thick this way. Down to the last few cuts here. So what I want to do is take this thicker side. I'm going to cut a 1/4 inch dado in it. I've got a 1/4 inch mortising bit set up. I've got it set up at a 1/4 inch tall. I'm just going to run it through. Move it around. Same with the other piece. There we have it. All right, here's the general idea where we're going. Down here in this corner, this cross piece, it was the first one I cut on the table saw, is not quite square. I was kind of worried about that. How I would avoid that in the future is tape the board down the same way I did, run it through the table saw one time just to square it up, then set up the thin rip jig to the 1/4 inch. That would solve that problem, I do believe. All right, we got to drill some holes, but first, I'm trying to lay out how I want the holes to be. And clearly I don't want it encroaching over here. I'm just going to mark like that. Mark like this. And then I will start to lay out my holes from the inside of those 2 lines. Only drilling holes in 1 cross piece. So an easy way to find the center of the board when the measurement is getting kind of weird is get you something to measure with. And we're going to start with that 8 on this end, just anywhere. And then go till you find something that's easy to cut in half. Let me make sure I'm set back up right. It moved a little bit. So start a number there. So that's 8. That's 6. You know, this 7 is halfway between. And make your mark. And then just draw your line. It's going to be a little bit tough to see. And I'll have to get you in the middle. Saves you the pain of watching me figure all this layout out. But do a line in the middle. And one on each side, equal distance from the middle. I'm going to take a 7/8 inch Forstner bit, because that's what my tubes need. And make sure you're getting there in your middle and right in the crosshair. And drill you some holes.
Sure could use a drill press.
Okay, let's do a dry fit. There we have it. I'll need to do some sanding, but I'm going to be very careful because these seams here are already just right where they need to be. I'm not going to sand very much, just knock off anything that looks kind of bad. Move it up. Here we are, all finished. I might do another coat of spar urethane on this. This gap here, that's not anything crucial or vital. That's just how my measurements came out versus my tubes. And then just get yourself some cuttings of a plant and put in there. Or, if you're like me and can only grow weeds anyway, get you some fake flowers. And there you go. Thank you all for joining me. Please like, share, and subscribe. Say hey down in the comments, and we'll see you next time.